The NBA draft class that was touted as subpar has proven to be anything but. I'm Madeline Burke for Sports Illustrated, along with Ben Pickman and Michael Pena. And guys, the latest wave of young talent is making their presence known in this league. Some of these guys, the impact was expected, while others have proven value in unexpected ways. Who's been the most impactful rookie so far in this early point in the season?
To me, it's James Wiseman, and I have a difficult time sometimes of disentangling potential from production. So every single time Wiseman does something good on a team with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, I kind of lose my mind a little bit, and I start comparing him to David Robinson. And then when he struggles, I realize that he kind of just looks like a beefier Nerlens Noel. But the Golden State Warriors really need James Wiseman to be an impactful player on both ends if they're going to make any sort of noise as the season progresses. He is obviously just this freak athlete who really accentuates Steph Curry in the pick and roll. And he's a lob threat that the Warriors have never really had since they've been this dynasty. So it's really intriguing to see his fit. And it's going to be really intriguing as the season progresses just to see how he kind of is able to accentuate Steph and Draymond and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Michael. And he certainly is rangy and going to make a big difference both in the short term and I think clearly the long term. I'm going to go a different way and go with the most impactful non-lottery pick. And for me, I'm going with Cole Anthony of the Orlando Magic, right? We saw him at North Carolina last year, and we saw his draft stock kind of stumble a little bit. So he fell to number 15 overall to Orlando. And with the Magic so far, he's played a pretty big role, right? He's averaging around 9 points a game. He's in the top 5 in rookie categories for both rebounds and assists, right? With Markelle Fultz now going out with an ACL injury, Cole Anthony is going to play an even bigger role on this team, become one of their primary guards and primary ball handlers. So it's going to be interesting to watch him. One area of concern that's pretty obvious is his three-point shooting, though, right? He's averaging just 19% from three right now from deep. So that's obviously going to need to improve if he's going to be a lead guard on a team that has some postseason aspirations.
Yeah, well, and speaking of three-point shooting, one guy who's kind of jumped off the page in that category, Tyrese Haliburton, taking number 12 overall. A lot of scouts were wondering if his jump shot would translate to the NBA, if his game was going to translate. I mean, he's averaging almost 11 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds a game, 53% from the field, 50% from three. And also, De'Aaron Fox leaves the game the other night with a hamstring injury. Haliburton really kind of showed up, played the best game of his young career. 17 points in that one. He's proven to be a confident player and one of the high points of this Sacramento Kings team. You got to love seeing these rookies making this impact. But a question for you, too. A lot of these guys were, touted as, oh, we'll see. We didn't know a lot about a lot of these guys in the draft class because of the COVID shortened off season and the no March Madness that we had. But why have these rookies been able to translate their game so well without summer league, without much of a training camp process leading up to the league, like the season, like they usually do?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, Madeline. I mean, we've seen some struggles just with field goal percentage and outside shooting with these guys, but I think that for example, there's someone like Payton Pritchard in Boston who is a 4-year player who's actually older than Jason Tatum, his teammate, which is kind of wild. And Payton Pritchard's basically saved Boston's season as they try to float above water. With Kemba Walker out with his knee injury. So that's just an example of someone who is tried and true in college, won everywhere he went, and the NBA hasn't really surprised him at all so far.
I mean, that's a good point, but at the same time, there are also some unknowns, right, who have fit right in very well, right? I look at Theo Maladon of the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? He's been your most successful second-round pick so far. He's averaging around 20 minutes per game, and he was 18 last year playing in EuroLeague action. He's just 19 right now, and he's fit in and had an opportunity to shine. I mean, I think right now we've seen a lot of players who look like solid role players at least and have played, important roles, whether it's a Pritchard, Emmanuel Quickley, to name some others who are kind of later names. But we haven't seen the kind of star power, at least, that we saw with John Morant, say, at the start of last year.
Well, and speaking of John Moran, I got to give a hat tip to his teammate Desmond Bain. Not only is he named after a Batman villain, well, not after, but he shares the same name, but he's also leading all rookies in 3-point shooting and has been really emerging, the number 30 overall pick. Lot of talent from this rookie class at this early point in the season. Looking forward to seeing how their game develops as the season continues. Guys, thanks so much for the insight. And for more, continue to check in with SI.com.